Are you ready to face monsters that can destroy everything around you? This is a world where level 4 monsters break the silence and people live in fear. But amid the chaos, the question arises, can Kong Kolho stop them? Kong Kolho is the only one who wields a purple crystal that can change everything. He bursts into battle with a sword, tearing through space and summoning lightning bolts. Everything will change today. This is the story of Kong Kolho, who defies fate. Kong Kolho runs out of the car as an alarm breaks the silence. Warnings about level 4 monsters are blaring from the speakers. Sparks ignite inside the car, and panic engulfs the passengers. Kolho turns around and sees huge creatures with long necks bursting out of the shadows of the buildings. They rush towards it, leaving destruction in their wake. Kolho jumps back, avoiding the powerful blow. He sees the monster approaching, kicking up clouds of dust. The monster's roar breaks the silence, and Kolho tightens his grip on his weapon, preparing to attack. Lightning flashes light up the sky as he directs the strike towards the enemy. The energy is torn apart, leaving bright trails in the air. Kolho raises the weapon, emitting purple energy, and points it at the huge bird. The bird lets out a high-pitched cry, trying to hide. Energy explodes. Blinding light shakes the skyscrapers around. The bird abruptly retreats, its feathers swaying with the force of the blow. Kolho prepares for the next step, confident in his power. Kolho runs down the ruined street, past the falling debris. The woman follows him, her eyes full of concern, her hand on the gun. Kolho stops, turns to her, and confidently tells her that everything will be fine. She raises her eyebrows, but holds her sword tightly. Kolho stands in front of the huge creature, looking at its bloodied body. The woman next to me anxiously asks what happened. He touches his chin, remembering recent events. A purple crystal glitters in his hands. It then informs you that you need to contact the team to dispose of the bodies. Kolho examines the ruined buildings and notices a restaurant with an unusual name. In his hand is a long spear, ready for action. He sighs and keeps moving forward. 2 sparrows land side by side, unperturbed amid the chaos. Kolho walks down the stairs, confident step by step. He raises his cup to his lips and looks out the window, watching the street. Then he opens the door and turns on the equipment. The frying pan is in his hands, and he puts it on the stove, preparing to cook. Kolho places the meat next to the garlic, looking at the ingredients intently. He hears the question and turns, spotting a silhouette at the door. The man comes closer, and Kolho steps out to meet him, bag in hand. They exchange glances, tension in the air. Kolho, in a formal suit, listens to the voice on the phone. A smile appears on his face as he answers. The black-haired guy listens, his expression turning serious. He turns to Cheol-ho, a small smile forming on his lips. He's standing at the bar, looking intently at the kitchen. A man in a suit approaches, looking around worriedly. He notices how the man hides his hands behind his back. The smile on his face changes as he turns to the other person. The man in the suit raises his eyebrows and freezes. Kolho is standing in front of a huge creature, his face contorted with fear. He turns away and takes a step back, clenching his fist. In the kitchen, someone is adding spices to a pan of rice, the aroma filling the space. The man in the suit smiles and says he's looking forward to it. Kolho is staring intently at the giant dragon that is soaring into the sky. Shards of glass fly around him, and rocks crumble. Huge monsters with weapons are approaching, threatening him. He doesn't take his eyes off the dragon, ready for battle. The dragon lets out a deafening roar and attacks, releasing bright flashes. Kolho takes to the air with his sword, lightning flashing around him. He looks at the dark figure on the stairs and grips the hilt. Dark creatures burst out of the gap in space. He takes a step forward, the sword glows, and he unleashes a powerful punch. The explosion envelopes everything around us, raising clouds of dust. He squeezes the pepper tightly as he adds it to the dish. The juice of the meat piece splashes onto the pan, creating a sharp sound. She's slicing meat on a plate, watching the process intently. Her eyes are fixed on the steak, thoughts of the rules filling her mind. Kolho holds the spatula and looks at the prepared dish with pride. On a plate of delicious meat with sauce and vegetables, a man in a suit runs up, his face contorted with excitement. He exclaims that he would like to try it. Kolho pricks a piece of meat on his fork and brings it to his lips. Kolho looks at the man who is eating the dish with gusto. The man smiles, bragging that it was incredibly delicious. Kolho turns to him, can't help but be surprised, and says it's just impossible. The man laughs and rubs the back of his head, embarrassed by the compliment. The piece of meat on the plate remains half-eaten, and a $10 bill is lying next to it. The man in the black suit smiles and walks up to the man in the apron. He talks about comparing prices by submitting money. The man in the apron looks at him, his eyes full of incomprehension. Kolho moves confidently to the table, his footsteps echoing in the silence. He puts the meat on a plate, carefully slicing it with a knife. At the table, he picks up his fork, bringing the food to his mouth. An owl appears in the window, its gaze fixed on what is happening. Kolho whirls around, his hand coming to rest on his neck. Kolho is standing in the cafe, looking at the table with bright eggs. He turns sharply when he hears a loud sound. The door opens and a man with red hair appears. He confidently enters and finds Cheolho. The man claims that he found it, and Kolho reacts with bewilderment. Kolho screams, his eyes filled with rage. He runs through the market, past people and stalls. Across the street, a man with a bag is watching him with interest. Kolho stops at the food counter, his eyes lingering on the delicious food. A man nearby shares his joy about expanding the market. He's standing in front of a display of eggs, his eyes sparkling with surprise. Attention is drawn to one egg. It seems to emit light. A flash of blue light illuminates his face, and he clenches his fists. A dragon silhouette appears in front of him, powerful and majestic. He picks out eggs from the market and asks how much for everything. The seller reports that he brought a lot. He notices one egg with no information and is perplexed. Later, he picks up an egg and carefully breaks it. The yolk flows out. Kolho is sitting at a table in a cafe, an empty plate in front of him. He looks out the window thoughtfully, reaching for his coffee cup. Memories of the past wash over him. He recalls moments with friends in nature. The image of a girl cooking something over a bonfire flashes through my mind. Kolho is sitting at a table in a cafe, holding a glowing dragon egg. The image of the dragon's birth bursts into his mind. Suddenly the door opens and a man with a determined look appears. He loudly declares that he has come. Kolho turns to him warily. Kolho points at the other person, demanding to return his property. There's a menacing glow in his eyes. The man with the red hair looks wary, sweat breaking out on his forehead. Kolho shares his suspicions about the dragons that exist in this world. He stands there watching it go up in flames. Her eyes are blazing with rage, and she's challenging me. He feels the tension, clenches his fists. Fire engulfs the space, and she steps forward, ready for action. Kolho angrily addresses the opponent, pointing out his inappropriate use of force. It burns the space around, creating fiery spirals. The opponent raises his hand, causing a powerful flow of electricity. Kolho dodges, preparing for the next move. Kolho swings his sword, creating a powerful punch that rips through space. He looks at his opponent with determination, his eyes sparkling with energy. The opponent stiffens, his face contorts with anger, and fire flares up around him.